2 weeks after the initial attacks on Paris, the suspected mastermind has been killed. Which team in the SEC West will rally up the strength to take home the title and have bragging rights for a year? What Disney character turned 87? And find out how you can give back this season to the local toy drive. Welcome to Maroon 360.
A Palestinian man killed 2 and wounded 1 in an Israeli knife attack. I'm Kay King.
And I'm Ashley Fortenberry. Our top story tonight, an update on the deadly terrorist attacks in Paris. Abdelhamid Aboud, the suspected planner of the Paris attacks, has been killed in a police raid on Wednesday. Investigators tracked Aboud to Saint Denis, a French suburb. Aboud's body was riddled during the attack and identified by fingerprint, palms, and the soles of his feet, reported investigators on Thursday. Police are not sure if Abdelhamid blew up himself in a suicide or if he was shot by police. The other suspect is still at large.
A Palestinian man has been arrested after carrying out knife attacks at Tel Aviv office on Thursday. The attacker killed 2 Israelis and wounded another who were engaged in midday prayers. One victim of the attack died at the scene. The other was evacuated and later died at the Tel Aviv Sourasky Medical Center, while the third victim is still being treated for torso wounds. The name of the attacker has not been released and no motive has been determined at this time. The attack took place 1 year after the brutal killings of 5 worshipers inside a Jerusalem synagogue.
2 girls who have been missing for more than 2 years have been found. Minnesota authorities located the 2 rookie girls on a Wednesday at a horse farm in western Minnesota after police issued a search warrant. Gianna, 16, and Samantha Rucky, 17, had not been seen since 2013. Their mother was arrested last month in Florida, but refused to release any details about the girls' whereabouts. It is believed that a network of family members were used to hide the girls after their father was awarded custody in November 2013.
Mississippi State University is seeing an outbreak of construction this year. The Mitchell Memorial Library expansion project started in July and is expected to be finished in spring of 2017. The construction budget is $7.2 million across the drill field. Construction is also taking place in McCool Hall. The College of Business is undergoing a 52,000 square foot expansion and upgrade. Some of the construction takes place directly below classrooms. Many students think that these construction projects are a distraction from their studies and campus life.
This past Saturday, Volunteer Starkville hosted National Family Volunteer Day. The service project of choice was the Potato Drop. The Potato Drop sponsored about 25 food pantries, churches, and local shelters around Starkville. The event lasted from 9 a.m. to noon in Commuter East parking lot. During this time, families were responsible for stacking potatoes in red bags and loading them onto volunteer trucks. Each truck would hold about 100 bags before being taken to its destination. Local families were not the only people to volunteer at the event. Also, students from other campus organizations were involved.
This is our 3rd year partnering with Society of St. Andrews. They are a national gleaning corporation. I worked with Jackie Usey based in Jackson, Mississippi. She works with local farmers that will donate produce at the end of their harvest to those in need, the produce that they weren't going to use.
If you missed the chance to service your community this weekend, there are other opportunities this holiday season. Just visit www.volunteerstarkville.org.
Mississippi State's Richard E. Holmes Cultural Diversity Center is hosting its Project Santa Toy Drive now until November 30th. Donations of new and unwrapped toys for children of all ages are being accepted. All of the toys collected will be taken to Emerson Family Center in Aiken Village. Students and surrounding communities are encouraged to participate. Donations may be dropped off at a variety of locations, including the Richard E. Holmes Cultural Diversity Center in the Culver Student Union, McCain, McCool, and Allen Halls, as well as the Mitchell Memorial Library and Rice, Ruby, and Hull Residence Halls. Coming up after the break, Kaylee McCool will tell us how the Dallas Cowboys snapped a 7-game losing streak this past Sunday.
Don't you watch MSU's Campus Connect forecast?
No? What is that?
Campus Connect is your latest weather forecast for the Starkville area, presented as a public service by the students of the Mississippi State Broadcast Meteorology Program. Log on to our blog at campusconnectforecast.blogspot.com. Don't get caught in the rain. Plan ahead with Campus Connect.
I'm going to tell all my friends about this so they can plan their day too.
Pick it up, Mississippi.
Welcome back to Maroon 360. I'm Kaylee McCool, and what a week it has been in sports. From the latest rankings to the new AP poll, I have everything you need to know right here. With the win against the Denver Nuggets on Sunday night, the Golden State Warriors have matched the best start in NBA history. The Warriors have joined the 1948 Washington Capitals and the 1993 Houston Rockets by going 15-0 to start the season and have a chance to stand alone with a win tonight against the Los Angeles Lakers. The Warriors already made history by becoming the first defending champions to start a season 15-0, and they currently own a 19-game regular season winning streak dating back to last year. Going into the final weeks of college football, Week 13 sees a familiar face atop the leaderboard as Clemson holds down the #1 spot for the fourth straight week. Alabama is still #2, while undefeated Iowa comes in at #3. Notre Dame and Oklahoma are ranked 4th and 5th, respectively, while the Spartans of Michigan State jump to #6 after handing Ohio State their first season loss. Behind them is Baylor at #7, and Ohio State fell back to #8. Rounding out the top 10 are Oklahoma State and Florida. Still holding places in the AP poll, Ole Miss comes in at #19, while the Mississippi State Bulldogs are ranked 23rd. Ohio State lost its first game this season in an upset against Michigan State on Saturday, and running back Ezekiel Elliott wasn't happy about it. After spending the early part of the week in the hospital with an infection, it was unsure if Elliott would even be able to play. But the potential Heisman candidate declared himself fully fit to play and then criticized the play calling of the fourth-year head coach Urban Meyer after only having 12 carries in the game. After the game, Elliott also announced this would be his last season with the Buckeyes, saying there is no chance of him coming back next year. For the first time in his 10-year career, Chicago Bears quarterback Jay Cutler will play his former team, the Denver Broncos. Cutler was traded from the Broncos to the Bears back in April of 2009. This isn't the first time that Cutler has been on the Bears team when they faced the Broncos. Cutler was sidelined with an injury when the Bears faced the Tim Tebow-led Broncos in 2011. This is the first time that he will take the field against them, and instead of a head-to-head duel between Peyton Manning and Jay Cutler, Denver will start Brock Osweiler against Cutler and the Bears. The Dallas Cowboys snapped a 7-game losing streak this Sunday thanks to the return of Tony Romo. The four-time Pro Bowler has been out since Week 2 because of a broken collarbone, and the Cowboys have not won a game since then. In his return, Romo threw over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns in the 24-14 victory over the Miami Dolphins, but he did have 2 interceptions as well. Even with the 2 turnovers, Cowboys fans were more than happy to see number 9 on the field again. With the win, Dallas moves to 3-7 and is only 2 games out of the first in the NFC East. That's all I have for your national sports update, but Christy Beth Nelson has a look inside what's going on in the world of Bulldog athletics. What do you have for us, Christy Beth?
One of your top high school basketball players is coming to play for the Bulldogs. And for the first time in program history, the MSU women's cross-country team competed in the NCAA championship. I'll have details on how they did and more after the break.
1, 2, 3, cigarettes, 4, 5, 6, packs, 10, 15, 20 milligrams of nicotine per day. Yellow, teeth, bad breath, disease, cancer, repeat until bam.
Imagine not having a home, or a clean place to sleep, or someone to rely on. For a homeless cat or dog, that is reality. 6 to 8 million cats and dogs do not have any of this, and 2.7 million of them never will because they will be euthanized before they find a home. Adopt an animal from a shelter and help give them the life they might have never had.
The Mississippi State cheerleaders are on the big stage of college football on the weekends, but not many people see the intense work that goes on behind the scenes. Best known for their school spirit and perfect hair on game days, Mississippi State cheerleaders are more than just a pretty addition on the sidelines. There is no off-season for the MSU cheer squad as they transition from football to basketball seasons, all while putting in extra hours in the gym for nationals competitions. If making the team wasn't hard enough, it takes extra time, effort, and dedication to make the Bulldog competition squad. All that hard work goes into just one chance to execute a 2.5-minute routine for a chance at the crown.
Once we start with nationals practice, that's like all week long on top of games on Saturdays, and then once basketball season starts, we have games on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's so many basketball games, but people don't really see the practice time that we put in, and we spend nights at the gym until 9, 10 o'clock, and then open gyms trying to get ready for nationals, and then still trying to be there to support the school and football and basketball teams, because that's why we're ultimately here. But people have no clue what happens, like what goes on for nationals.
For the first time in school history, the MSU women's cross-country team competed in the NCAA championship. The Bulldogs were one of the top 31 teams selected to compete in this year's championship race. Ranked 20th entering the race this Saturday, MSU had a strong performance and finished with 405 points, good enough for 17th overall. Senior Marta Freitas got out fast and paced the Bulldogs with a 37th place finish, making her the team's only All-American this season and the third in program history.
The 17th is what we were trying to, finish higher than we were seeded coming in, but to have another All-American in the program's huge, and it's just a couple seconds here and there can make the difference at a meet like this from getting it and not getting it. So.
Arkansas was the only SEC team to finish higher than MSU at nationals. With 10 runners returning next season, State is primed to be one of the best in the SEC. In a wild back-and-forth game, Mississippi State pulled out a win on the road against Arkansas Saturday night. The two teams together managed to rack up more than 1,000 total yards and 101 points. Beniquez Brown blocked what was potentially the game-winning field goal for Arkansas with 39 seconds left in the game to seal the victory for the Bulldogs. Along with the win, Dak Prescott set an all-time MSU record with 508 passing yards, 46 rushing yards, and 7 touchdowns on the night. On Saturday, MSU will host the Ole Miss Rebels in one of the nation's most played rivalries. This will be the 112th meeting between the two teams and the 88th battle for the Golden Egg. Both teams are bowl eligible this season, and for only the 6th time in Egg Bowl history, the game will be a top 25 matchup, with MSU ranked number 22 and Ole Miss ranked number 19. The Rebels hold an overall 62-43-6 advantage in the series, which has proved to be an unpredictable outcome in previous years. Last year, the Bulldogs were ranked higher when the two teams met, but they fell to the Rebels 31-17 in Oxford. 2 years ago in Starkville, the Rebels were expected to win, but lost in overtime after their QB, Bo Wallace, fumbled in the end zone, which ended the game. This Saturday's battle for the Golden Egg is set to kick off at 6:15 on ESPN2.
It is, neighbor against neighbor. I mean, there's so much with this trophy and bragging rights that go on in this state about this game. And I think everybody in this state, takes this game extremely seriously and takes the outcome of this game extremely seriously and holds on to that outcome for 365 days until it gets played again.
The MSU volleyball team headed east this weekend for a pair of matches against SEC foes South Carolina and Georgia. The Bulldogs dropped the first match at South Carolina in 3 straight sets Friday night, but won in straight sets at Georgia on Sunday. Senior Alex Warren led the way both nights, totaling 33 kills and only 5 errors. Her 5-28 kill percentage was a career high and a season team high. The win gives MSU 4 SEC wins on the season, the most since 2011. It's also the first win in Athens since 2010. The Bulldogs will finish their season with 2 home matches this week, hosting LSU on Wednesday and rival Ole Miss Friday night. Just a few days after landing one of the top recruiting classes in the country, MSU men's basketball head coach Ben Howland added another star to the Bulldog family. Howland and his staff signed 4-star recruit Abdul Adu from Chattanooga, Tennessee last week. The 6'11" standout is ranked as the 68th best high school player in the nation, according to ESPN. After landing this recruit, the Bulldogs now have the number 6 signing class in the country. This past Friday, Special Olympics Mississippi came to Starkville to host the basketball and volleyball Special Olympics. I was there to get an inside look on what goes into making this event a success. Each year, twice a year, Mississippi State hosts the Area 6 Golden Triangle Special Olympics. During the first semester, groups will come out and work on track and field skills, and during the second semester, volleyball and basketball skills. In order to compete in the Special Olympics, there is a detailed application process to decide who is eligible.
So my job as the event coordinator is just getting all of the applications in and going through them and making sure we have physicals for each athlete, and then making up different groups within the age groups and gender, and then making a schedule, and then making it all come to play here.
According to Deanie Forbes, the Area 6 Special Olympics director, anyone can volunteer to help. During Friday's event, members of Beta Beta Beta, special education students, and some of the MSU women's basketball team were among those who were there to help. Victoria Vivian said the event was very beneficial and gave her a different perspective on life.
It make you take a step back and make you look at life and like everything is not just handed and given to you. So you should be grateful for everything you get, because you never know when it's like when you gonna have your chance or when you won't be able to do a certain thing in life.
The groups who participated in Friday's events played basketball and volleyball and ended the day with a 3-on-3 basketball game. Workers and volunteers said it was good to see the smiles on everyone's faces.
It doesn't matter what they're doing, they're having fun with it and putting their whole heart into it, and I just love seeing them work so hard for something, and they just make my heart so happy, and I just love seeing them.
The track and field Special Olympics will be held in the spring, and for more information on how to volunteer, contact Deanie Forbes at forbes.deanie@gmail.com. That's it for your Maroon 360 local sports update. Up next, Thad Fairley will sit down with campus officer Steve Westbrook.
Don't you watch MSU's Campus Connect forecast?
No? What is that?
Campus Connect is your latest weather forecast for the Starkville area, presented as a public service by the students of the Mississippi State Broadcast Meteorology Program. Log on to our blog at campusconnectforecast.blogspot.com. Don't get caught in the rain. Plan ahead with Campus Connect.
I'm Thad Fairley, here with Mississippi State University Police Officer, Patrol Officer, Steve Westbrook. Thank you for coming.
Yes, sir.
So I know that you're you're an officer here on the Mississippi State campus. Just what do you do here on campus, and what areas is your expertise here on campus?
Well, we patrol the campus just like an officer patrols any other town or city or highway or wherever your jurisdiction is. And we provide pretty much the same services. As far as an area of expertise, I've worked narcotics, I've done investigations, I've pretty much covered the whole gamut of law enforcement.
Well, obviously you have a lot of experience, but just talk about the differences between campus police officers and town police officers. So.
Well, there are a few differences. Campus policing is geared a lot more toward community policing. We try to get out in the public and talk to people and let them know that we're there to help them, not just there to cause them problems. Or we deal primarily with one segment of the population, normally young people, as most students are obviously young people. So we have to gear the way we work more towards young people than the regular jurisdiction guys who deal with everybody.
Yeah. Well, as you know, the holidays are vastly approaching. Thanksgiving is right around the corner. I understand a couple years ago there were a few students who had their apartments broken in. How do you guys go about protecting apartments and residence halls while students are away?
Well, when everybody else goes home to eat their turkey and be with their family, some of us end up at work. We actually scale down some. Not everybody works like we do typically when everybody's here, but we have an adequate number of officers on hand, and we actually walk through the buildings and just keep an eye on what's going on while everybody's gone.
Okay. And again, this has been a crazy year. You've had various shootings in many different campuses. Do you guys do any special training to prepare for certain instances such as the shooting here or the Missouri incident? Just how do you guys prepare for those situations?
Well, I've been in law enforcement for a long time, and the active shooter thing is really a fairly new thing. It's actually probably not happening more, but it's gained more attention than it has in the past. And therefore, yes, we do train especially for active shooter situations. We usually have 2 and sometimes 3 sessions per year where it may be 2 or 3 days of real intense active shooter training. We use ammunition rounds where you actually, I promise you, when they hit you, they hurt bad enough that you don't want to get hit with them. And it's pretty intense training. But to answer your question, yes, we do train specifically for those circumstances.
Do you guys go anywhere, like to certain areas? They have one place where you guys go to train?
Actually, there's 2 different major training organizations that specialize in active shooter, and our department has been through both. For some of the training, we've gone off-site to other places like the Police Academy in Jackson or a place in Meridian that we sometimes go. But one company actually brought all the training on campus, and we used some buildings that weren't being used at the time and did some active shooter training in those.
Okay. Do you guys ever collaborate with town police officers?
We work very closely with the city and the sheriff's department.
Okay.
We actively do investigations of crimes together, crimes that may have originated on campus and spilled out into the county, or vice versa, crimes that started in the county and ended up on campus. We very, very frequently work with city and county authorities. And we have done some training as far as the active shooter thing with some of these other agencies.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mr. Westbrook. Pleasure to have you again.
Enjoyed it.
When we come back, Abigail Strickland will be here with entertainment news. Stay tuned.
1, 2, 3, cigarettes, 4, 5, 6, packs, 10, 15, 20 milligrams of nicotine per day. Yellow teeth, bad breath, disease, cancer. Repeat until bam.
For our last show.
Snow.
Katniss Everdeen may have come out on top of the weekend box office with an estimated $101 million in domestic ticket sales, but the finale fell short of other Hunger Games films in the franchise. The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2, starring Jennifer Lawrence, was expected to reach over $120 million in the opening weekend, topping the Twilight and Harry Potter movies. The Hunger Games Catching Fire was the highest-grossing movie of the Hunger Games series. Despite the box office sales, 70% of critics on Rotten Tomatoes gave the film a positive rating.
Hello, how are you? It's so typical of me to talk about myself.
Adele hasn't released new music since 2011, but she is back. Last Friday, Adele released 25. The single Hello is the first single to sell more than 100 million US downloads in 1 week. 25 has been at the top of the charts since it has been available for pre-order. Columbia Records is releasing the album, and the company is planning to ship 3.6 million copies to the United States. First week sales are expected to be more than 1.5 million copies. Sony Music has stated that with the predicted digital sales of 1 million units, Adele's 25 could sell 2.5 million copies in its first week, breaking the record previously held by NSYNC's No Strings Attached. On Monday, the Game of Thrones Twitter account released an image of Jon Snow with a blood-streaked face that announced the season 6 would be starring in April. Since the end of last season, fans said the HBO award-winning series had been speculating if Snow is actually dead or not. A specific release date has not been given, but several fans are already speculating that Melisandre will raise Snow from the dead. The leader of the club that's made for you and me turned another year older last week. Walt Disney created Mickey Mouse 87 years ago while on a train journey with his wife Lillian. Walt drew the iconic mouse and said he should be named Mortimer. Disney thought the character would be better known as Mickey, and it stuck. Mickey Mouse first appeared on screen in 1928 in Steamboat Willie. Mickey Mouse has been in over 130 films and has won many awards. In present time, Mickey Mouse is the iconic figurehead of all Walt Disney Resorts and the Walt Disney Company. Starkville kicked off its Star-Spangled Christmas last Sunday with a Cookies with Santa event. The Christmas parade will follow suit on November 13th on Main Street, beginning at 6 p.m. The famous Maroon band, the cheerleaders, and many floats from local businesses will be showcased in the parade. Organizations will also centralize around 2015 theme, which is Star-Spangled Christmas. There are more than 2 events: Holiday Bazaar on December 2nd and 3rd at the Starkville Sportsplex, and the ending event, which will be Holiday Tour of Homes on December 6th. If you're looking for a way to ease your mind and listen to good poetry, then this next event did just that. The Mississippi State University Writing Center sponsored the Streetcars Open Mic Poetry Night at the Doghouse in the Union. The Streetcar is a student-run creative arts journal on campus. It gives students the opportunity to have their works published. The Open Mic Poetry Night featured many people bringing their own style of creation.
Associated with the Streetcar, which is MSU's creative arts journal. We are about 4 years old, so brand new basically, but we accept all creative submissions from MSU students.
This is the second year the Streetcar held the Open Mic Poetry Night. The Streetcar is also now accepting creative submission for their 3rd journal issue that is set to come out in the spring semester in 2016. Participants are encouraged to submit their best works before the November 25th deadline. That's all I have for your Maroon 360 Entertainment. Check back next Tuesday to see what else is happening in and around Starkville.
Unfortunately, we're at the end of the show. Thank you for being with us today. Join us again next week to catch up on how the Bulldogs did in the Egg Bowl.
And be sure to follow us on Twitter and like our Facebook page. Thanks again, and see you next week.